principle, this is a quickie. Here's one that libertarians get all the time. Some arrogant statist tries to deny the non-aggression principle by coming up with a hypothetical case where it's hard to tell who violated it, or if there are nuances involved, or that what actually happened is vague. And the mere existence of this hypothetical is presented as all that's needed to refute the nap. But no system has perfect information. You could use this same argument to argue against the criminal justice system, or even the methods of rationality themselves. We don't have perfect information, so it's not always easy to tell which position is the most rational one. Problems of investigation are not problems of principle. Just because we can't tell which of them violated the nap doesn't mean that whoever did was in the right. The only way to refute a principle is to attack the underlying logic behind it. Otherwise, you have nothing.
Hello. This is a splinter of my project, just a thought exercise. I'm using a text-to-speech software because I don't feel very well, and because I didn't want you to just read a page of text, but I'll still paste the text either in the description or somewhere else. I invite you to answer, not with an infinite comment, or with a hollow insult, but with a well-formed video, since it is the best format for such dialogue, and, to be honest, I've trouble reading anything, so reading a long text would take way more effort than to listen to audio. Now I'm going to list 3 improbable scenarios. Although the vast majority of you will never find oneself into even one of these examples, they are still things to engage with, because they are under the jurisdiction of your model of morality, or your model for an ideal society. Scenario 1. Vorsh's Island. You find yourself stranded on an island after an incident with a public transport vehicle like a plane or a cruise boat. You and another person are the only survivors of the disaster. You wake up long after the other person and discover that the island is extremely poor of resources. The only resources available to eat and drink were some coconuts that the other person has already ordered all for themselves. You are already thirsty and hungry, and don't know how long rescue will take to arrive, so you ask for some coconuts. Now I'm going to make the example more applicable and realistic, because Vorsh went for shock value when making the original example. So, in my version, the other person, for whatever reason, be it selfishness or fear to not survive themselves, refuses to share even one coconut with you, no matter what you may offer to trade with them. You yourself may not be able to survive until the rescue arrive, or maybe you don't even want to get damaged by dehydration or starvation. The question is it justifiable, in this situation, to steal some coconuts from the other person or even kill them, if they resist you enough, all to avoid starvation or dehydration damage or death for your own self? What if the roles were inverted? Is there really a right option here? Now there will be the other 2 examples. They're somewhat of a variation of the first one, but I think they are still important for one's introspection of their values. Scenario 2. The Blood Room. You and another person get closed inside a room by a third party. The entity that trapped you two is a deviant. It is in the wrong. The entity wants one of you to kill the other. If there's not one death in a time limit, you both will die. But if one dies, the other is freed. Is it, in this situation, justifiable to kill the other person to secure your life or health? Is it justifiable only if the other person tries to kill you first? Or is it, even if you're the one doing the first move? Again, is there even a right option here? Scenario 3. The Murder Conga. In this situation, there is you with another 2 people. One person with a gun at the back of your head forces you to pick up another gun and kill another person. You're given no margin of error in moving, because otherwise the other person will shoot you in the head.
Well, he's got me now. Or does
The other person tells you that you've a limited amount of time to kill the third person. If you kill them, you're free to go, but if you don't you'll die, and the other person instead is free to go. Once again, is there even a right thing to do? Who should die? Why? These are the moral conundrums that everyone must face if they want to accept reality. These are, again, very improbable scenarios, but that are still in the realm of reality. Can one be a good person if one was never in a terrible situation? Can one really be charitable if they give away things that are not theirs? Can one be a good person if all their life they never had a reason to do a bad thing? Is it one's fault if they are shaped by their environment? This is the world in which we all live, so you have to accept that these problems exist for everyone. How does your model of morality or your model for an ideal society interact with them? I'm going to say this until further notice. I'm still an uncap, both because I still need to complete my project and don't know if there even is a political stance where I would belong right now. Being an uncap means that the only universal law that I accept is the non-aggression principle, which says that the initiation of force is not justifiable. Long story short, my project tackles many things, and one of these is the possibility to either not be an ANCAP anymore or to reform ANCAP to be more consistent. Right now I believe that morality is subjective, because I can't really find any indication that there's any objectivity to it. Different life forms evolved in different ways, and, to be short, humans found their own way to survive, which consists of different people specializing in different tasks. In short, different people are more willing to sacrifice themselves for others, or to not hurt others in a period of strife. We, as any other life form, didn't evolve for the benefit of the individual, but evolved for the benefit of our life form's group. If the individual's benefit turns out to coincide with the benefit of the respective life form's group, the individual can even prosper. We can see this in the way that chimps and bonobos evolved. So, in conclusion, what I want to say is, political models cannot apply outside of a society. By society I mean a group of people willing to live together without much strife among them. You cannot really apply political models like ANCAP, communism, conservatism, liberalism, or progressivism to things like photosynthesis or gravity. Some model of morality conflate in some aspect with one or more political models, like any form of fascism, because, well, they just do. In my opinion, to reform ANCAP we have to say that the NAP can only be applied inside a society and cannot be applied in a situation where only survival is in the equation. To make a short example, you may or may not steal coconuts on Vosh's island to survive, but, and here comes a complicated part, of which I ask you to simplify in your heads for the sake of the example. Please, if you're homeless and penniless you cannot steal food from a shop. This is the end of this shard of my project. I ask you to please send me feedback, because it's really important for me to solve this issue. I'll just ignore hollow insults and respond in the appropriate way to rightful criticism. I just hope that other ANCAPs won't just ignore this video and instead respond to it, because even if it's an issue that applies the same to everyone, we are still part of everyone. Thank you for your attention. I'll wait any response. I sark out.